And welcome back to the Journey of Self. I am your intuitive tarot reader as well as your host, Brandy, and this is The Journey. Okay, so I've been giving a public service announcement because it is Cancer season. Pisces, I think that you guys were probably dealing with this okay. I remember as an Aquarius going through Pisces season. It was a little bit rough at times, but I made it through. And I'm not even a water sign. I think you guys are going to be okay. If not, let me give the public service announcement that I've been giving and take it how it resonates. I switch it up a little bit for each sign, depending on what comes to me. First off, Cancer season is a time to sow seeds. It may not be a time to reap. What does that mean? It's like a birthing process. It is best to just breathe through it and surrender. I'm giving this public service announcement because I don't want to see anyone get dragged. What do I mean? The reason why people keep giving warnings to Cancer season is because there are some energies that move through Cancer season that no one can stand in front of, especially the energy of change, compounded by the eclipse as well. Correct? Now, we're going through some emotional processing. This is not the time to lash out. You will see that this emotional processing has people lashing out, being clingy, being needy, there's like a warlike energy moving through as well. As I said to some of the other signs, I'll say it to you. I've seen at least 5 fist fights break out in the last 3 weeks alone. That's the most fist fights I've seen in years. And they were with adults, all adults. Okay. If you pay attention and listen, you'll hear people's true feelings. I feel like people are wearing their heart outside of their shirt, outside of their chest. People are saying some things. Some of them might even be shocking. But, however, I think that they're true expressions of people's sight at this time. Psychologists would say that you'll never know someone until you see them deal with stress. This is a stressful time for a lot of us. So with that being said, Pisces, just surrender to it. If spirit or life, the universe, whatever, if something in your life, even your intuition has been nagging at you to change something, let it go. That's when people start to get dragged, when they do not want to change their perspective, when they do not want to change, when they do not want to let things go, they're getting dragged behind it, especially if it's something that is destined to change. People are getting dragged. I don't want to see anyone get that. Now, these energies are set to last 6 months, 18 months, up until 2020. Not the heaviness of this, but us being able to see the results of how we've behaved during the season. So, when karma shows up, as I like to describe her, as the tax auditor that she is, she's going to ask us how we've been operating. Let's make sure that we're living in the shadow of something great and that we've planted seeds that are going to bear wonderful, beautiful, nurturing fruit as opposed to poisonous fruit. All right. So the first card that I have out as what spirit is trying to offer, or you can consider it blessings, is the wings of Isis. This card is about the birth of angelic consciousness and soul purpose. The next card that we have out is life restored. I like this card because this card is about pieces of oneself that had been thought lost, coming back to a wholeness of oneself, being able to move forward in success with spiritual gifts, talents, things that we were given to be successful in this life. Things that, like I said, we have maybe once thought to be lost. This is the energy of rising from the ashes, excuse me, rising from the ashes, excuse me, retrograding, rising from the ashes as a phoenix. Okay. This is also about spiritual awakening. So 2 cards of that, and then bam, we got the Chariot of Ascension, which is definitely about spiritual awakening. Now, the thing about the Chariot of Ascension, it's about harmony and the ability to move from one dimension to another. This is like as above, so below, coming to one so that you can start to manifest from your highest place. Also, too, when this happens, this is where people talk about downloads in meditative states, because there is knowledge that will be released to you. This could be knowledge of self. This is knowledge of the inner workings of the laws of manifestation, the laws of attraction, relationships, people. This can sometimes be a little bit scary when you're on the Chariot of Ascension, because most people buy their ticket to the Merkaba through pain. I'm going to be honest with you guys. If you talk to a lot of the tarot readers on YouTube, they will tell you that they started tarot through a feeling of, they started their interest in tarot, let's say, through a feeling of loss, a feeling of loss of control, or maybe pain through like a painful relationship or breakup or something of that nature, right? People pay thousands of dollars to get on the Chariot of Ascension through spiritual retreats. They spend thousands of hours of time through yoga, meditation, and things of that nature to get on the Chariot of Ascension. But one of the most expensive ways to get on it is through pain. But one of the most authentic ways to get on the chariot is through pain. Pain is the best teacher. Why? Because it's something that most people can't ignore. And it creates flashbulb memories, things we'll never forget. You're ascending. You're leveling up. Your clarity is going to be astounding. Now, seeing behind the veil, that's that high priestess energy. It can be alarming. Some of you may even think you're losing your mind. You're not. Calm down. It's okay. However, I'm going to tell you something that my great grandmother used to say. Everything good to eat is not good to talk. For instance, everything that I see in a tarot reading, I don't speak, because intuition is going to be high. Use it. After you start to use your intuition, and after you see things clearly, listen. There's a price to be paid when you don't listen to your intuition. You're going to get a crash course in intuition. Your intuition is going to be heightened at this time. It may come in the form of dreams. It may come in the form of thoughts that you hear as clear as day. Signs, synchronicities are going to begin as well if this is your first ride on the chariot. Pay attention, because the universe, spirit, your guides want you to start living in your full life purpose, and that's going to happen. Your dreams are going to start to come true. And everything good to eat is not good to speak. In other words, you're going to figure out some things about people and your relationships and your life, and you don't necessarily need to tell everyone what you know. Be careful. Anyone who has mastered manifestation knows that it is a process like giving birth. The first 4 months of a pregnancy, a woman may not reveal that she is pregnant until the second trimester, when she knows that the baby is safe. It's the same thing with manifestation, and it's the same thing with seeing behind the veil. You're being initiated into, I don't want to say a secret society, but you're being initiated into hidden knowledge. Those who are enlightened know that the more enlightened you are, the more you come to grips with the idea that you know nothing at all. The more you allow surrender and acceptance of what you do know, and you know that it's not something that you spread. There are things that I see in tarot readings, and my intuition is what I'm using to release the information or not. There are times that I see some things and it actually controls the way I give the reading. because everything and every approach is not for everyone. And sometimes I find out things about people and I know it's not for their knowledge, it's for mine, so that I lead them or inspire them or educate them in a certain way. But telling them why I'm doing it is not necessary. Let's move on. Now, you got a lot of cards in the area of blockages. Now, don't get alarmed. Blockages are not exactly the way it seems. It's a relative. These are actually ways to get around the blockages, things that might be hindering you, and also warnings at this current time. The first card you have in this area is Red Riding Hood. You actually got 4 cards. I only do 2, so I have to take them. The first card you have is Red Riding Hood. This is the fairy tale oracle deck taken from the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. Some of them you may know from Disney or whatever, but they are a lot watered down. They're very watered down in that version. This version, we're not watering anything down, okay? All right. First card, Red Riding Hood. This is a card of the idea of like a maiden coming of age, or someone coming of age, or someone coming into self, right? Maturity. This could also talk about sexual maturity. It could also talk about staying focused and aware. Do not be deceived by appearances. Do not let yourself be groomed. Think of the purpose. Have a mature viewpoint within this situation. So, whatever you're dealing with, you are to be aware and stay on the path. Keep yourself safe. That is probably why I just gave that statement. I never give that statement on the Chariot of Ascension. And I never really go that hard in that area, right? But also too, with the Life Restored card, when we talk about rising from the ashes like a phoenix, this to me is about spiritual ascension and manifestation this particular month for you. This is a season to plant seeds, as I said previously. Now, with that being said, there may be wolves in sheep clothing. That may be something that is revealed to you. You may see, not literally, but in spirit, in intuition, the dangerous side of someone. This can come in the form of a statement that was meant to seem harmless by this person, but you could see through it and deeper into it and realize, oh shit, yeah, I gotta run. But you're not gonna turn around, scream, tell them I'm about to run. No. You're gonna do that slowly. As my mom always says, when you have your head in the lion's mouth, you take it out slowly. So this is an idea that there could be someone in your life that is trying to influence you for their own benefit, groom you. Now, when I think of being groomed, I think of maybe a relationship that you get into with, like, say, an abusive partner. They're not going to slap you on your first date. No, they're not going to talk to you crazy on the first date. They're going to ease it on. That's being groomed for something worse to come. I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but when I think of being groomed, that's what I'm talking about. You may have someone who is doing something that appears harmless, like every time they're around you, they're talking negative about other people, simply because they want you on their side, because they want an ally, right? Seems harmless, but that's a dangerous person, because they may be someone that likes to stir the pot for their own benefit. They may want you as they may want you as an ally, but think about if you decide not to. They will probably consider you an enemy and do the same to you. So do not allow yourself to be groomed. If you feel you need to pull back from somebody, do so. Next card you guys have is Revelations. Aquarius also got this card. Powerful card. Be careful though, because this is, like I said, Cancer season. There is a warlike energy running through. Even with myself, I am a revolutionary by nature. In Cancer season, I pull back because I am not here to incite. I am not here to inspire anyone to do anything that their rank can't handle. That's a military reference. In other words, only do what you're qualified for. That's what I mean, right? So with this card of Revelations, this is about nature holding the truth. This is about truth revealed after a long time being hidden. What is suppressed rises to the surface, belated justice. This card is also about a past evil that is now recognized. An abusive person is found out. Wow. I didn't even know that was going to come up in that card. This could also be about someone who may be trying to bully you as well. Because, yeah, now that I think about this card, yes, it does talk about bullying as well. The next card we have out is healing. So if this card comes to you, know that you cannot live afraid of the light, for the bright light that is wanting to shine on you and bring you to full and radiant life is healing light. The warmth of love and joy and your own flourishing cannot be hidden away from, and you cannot hide from the dark either. There will be times of stillness and quiet and subtle hiddenness, when you can walk unwatched and be more of an observer of the world. This card is about polarizing beliefs. This card is about the meeting point where understanding and love between different people begins. This is about masculine and feminine energies in relationship. This card is about balance being needed for true wholeness. This card is about conditioned fears. Yeah. Sometimes we're groomed by life in general to have certain beliefs and fears and reservations. That's what that is. And then this card is about a time to confront and overcome fears. This is about a kind-hearted guide through darkness, counseling and compassion, recovery after an abusive childhood. And this card is letting you know there is a whole new world to explore. Then we have the last card. This card is about wounds. So there's a quote that I'm going to read from this card. It is an old saying that he who seeks what he should not finds what he would not. Yeah. So this card is about secret love, attempt to keep things to yourself, hiding the truth after feelings can lead to pain and misunderstanding. Hiding the truth about feelings can lead to pain and misunderstanding. This card is about staring fear in the face. This card is about the solutions lie within the place you fear most. We are all vulnerable in love. Love's wounds can be cured through courage. Healing from love's wounds. When I hear that love's wounds can be healed through courage, I feel like it's the courage to love again. Not thinking that every love relationship or every relationship is going to be the same. There's something about the truth coming out this month, Pisces. And I think you discover the truth. But Spirit is saying, be careful how you use it. Be careful how you use it. I want to light an incense, clear the energy. Just give me 1 second. I feel like whatever this is something you would rather not look at. I have to be quite honest. I love doing tarot. I love all the signs equally. I have nothing really against any sign. And all the Pisces that I know are fucking awesome. So when I say this, remember that. I didn't even want to do this reading. For some reason, I was like, it seemed like it was going to be a daunting task. Honestly, I was thinking about doing this later and doing my love readings now, because I felt like it was going to be more of a good time. I don't think this reading is going to be bad, but I think that could be a feeling that you're having. There's something you'd rather not look at. There is something you'd rather not deal with at this time. And that's okay. It being Cancer season, let's see if we should deal with it or not. But you know what? If it's emotions, look at them. Because like I was telling somebody, by looking at a thing changes it. The very looking at a thing changes it. The very acknowledgement of a thing changes it. Right? And if not, changes it. You could probably gain resolve this month on this thing by looking at it. My mom always says, whatever you run from, she says, don't run from anything because it will wait for you. It's way too many cards, but you know what? I'm going to take them because that's the problem. There's a lot of energy, a lot of emotion here. I'm going to take them and I'm going to read them as they go. So far there is something that you may have come to a resolute in your mind that you wanted. Right? Something that you feel as though would make you happy. As you wait for this thing, as you wait for the sun, as you wait for your ships to come in, you may be feeling conflicted inside of yourself, or there could be a sense of a miscommunication between you and maybe someone else, or even a conflict within oneself. I feel like you go between holding on and feeling left out in the cold. Whatever this is. Could have something to do with an air sign, could have something to do with a fire or a water sign. Signs are irrelevant. However, let's see what the cards are saying. Starting with the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords, she's certain. In career, she's sure. And she's a thinker. She may not be the most motherly, but she'll give you advice through her experiences. And that's where she gets her knowledge, through her experience. Kind of like myself. I'm an Aquarius, and I always use examples when I do my readings. I feel like it's the best. Sorry, guys, for the background noise. It is early in the morning, and that is the garbage pickup. Sorry about that, but it's necessary. Uncomfortable, but necessary. Yeah, kind of like this thing that we're about to look at. I'm led to say this expression. It's a quote that I heard. Life is a metaphor, and once the metaphor is understood, you can move successfully. Everything is a metaphor. I feel like you guys are confused about something, and generally you understand this thing, but now you may not. You're looking for answers and waiting for the illumination. If you have someone around you that is less emotional than yourself, logical, not to say that you are not, someone who you can feel is a trusted advisor, you would want to ask them. Because whenever I see the hangman in this deck, look at the eyes outside. The eyes are in the air. I would say ask the people around you, the people who truly love you. They can see it in a way you cannot. That could be possibly where some of the illumination comes from. And that makes sense, right? When the Queen of Swords is a good advisor, right? And then the Hangman comes out, and I say that, and when I see that card, this has something to do with you maybe asking the right questions to the right person. But when you see the truth or hear the truth, believe it. Even if this means you asking someone else or this person directly, believe it. Whatever this advice is that is to come, or whatever the answer is, it may actually help you recalculate what you're doing, where you're going, and what you have. Somebody may get their walking papers, or you may get yours. There could be a sense of cutting out some unnecessary or someone or something that is no longer serving you. Then we have, the Chariot, which talks about moving forward in duality. The Nine of Cups is the next card present. Okay, let me move these cards just a second, guys. So the Nine of Cups is about generosity, attainment, and spiritual and emotional, right? Attainment of a spiritual value or of an emotional value. Then we have, clarifying that, the Knight of Cups. There could have been something that you felt really brought you that spiritual, emotional, even maybe financial security or contentment. However, this card could be talking about overindulgence in drugs, in sex. The Knight of Cups is an energy of being self-conscious, self-aware, lost in thought, sometimes isolation or escapism. This is maybe the idea that somebody could have experimented with your emotions. In other words, they may have been toying, exploring your emotions. When I see this card, sometimes I think of a jackass on a jackrabbit. Something that now probably has you stuck in your head. This person may have presented themselves as a knight in shining armor for you only to find out that's not who they were at all. See, there's a sense here that there are some truths that have been learned and applied. There are truths currently being applied and learned, and there are still some to be revealed. That's the idea that I get from the Nine of Swords. The Two of Wands wanted to come out. I didn't even shuffle. It fell off the deck. The two is always going back to the High Priestess, which is funny because I felt like the High Priestess wanted to come out. Because there is definitely some knowledge that is hidden and wants to come out. The Two of Wands is always going to be about direction and a difference between now and then. Some of you are going to take the bull by the horns and say, fuck it, I'm out. And find yourself new fertility. Take what you have and make something of it. Others may be reeling in their head about this. This could also involve pregnancy. Either way it goes, there's a sense that you guys are trying to find a solution. And whenever I see this card, I just have to be honest and say there may not be one. However, there's a sense that there may have been a loss or an abuse of power Think about this. This person is getting robbed. This is a very interesting depiction of the Three of Swords. Plus, if we think about the Three of Swords, it's in the original Rider-Waite deck, it's about a heart being pierced by swords. That's truth and thought, correct? There is something that you may have been waiting on, only to find out that it might not be coming, or it's not going to happen. I'm also getting a sense that you may have thought you were in love, and now that things are changing, either opportunities are changed or you're pregnant, maybe this person does not want to be bothered. That's for a small group of people. It's not for everyone, right? I'm just saying, with this combination of cards, a jackass on a jackrabbit, somebody you thought was the one, only to find out and have an idea in your head. This is my card of a choice in pregnancy as well. That's why I'm saying that. So it's not for everybody. However, there is something you were waiting on that you may have realized isn't going to happen, or this is not what you want, or it's not what you thought it was. And some of you, it's caused a spiritual awakening. You're starting to realize what it is and what it's not. Also, too, this card is about a leap of faith. Like I said, some of you are going to decide to take the bull by the horn. Some of you are still kind of reeling in your head about this thing. You may not want to come to grips with this thing. However, some people, like I said in another reading, some people would argue that the Fool is both the 0 and the 22nd card of the major arcana, because it's a beginning and an end. But it's also back to the beginning. For some of you, you may literally feel foolish, or that you have no direction. For others, there's going to be a turn in events that brings joy and excitement, optimism. This card, the Three of Wands, I often see it as waiting on the sun. Well, the sun is here in this reading. It's not going to be all bad, trust me. Yep. The Five of Cups is present. Whatever this situation is, some of you may have been traumatized by it, and you're still flinching from time to time as you think about it. But the message of the Five of Cups is not to stay in depression, or it's not simply, oh, you're depressed. No, it's not. It's actually a message to turn away from what has been spilled, turn around and look at the two, because you do have something left. Even the messages of the fives is that all is not lost. You'll never lose everything. Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is about training.